Tennessee number 10 in the FPI by ESPN. Now, for those that don't know, you want to describe what the FPI is because me, it's a lot of numbers and mumble and jumble, and I'd rather look at football and determine who I think is better, but it's become a thing.
Yes. So the ratings include a forecast for every team's record. It's a power rating that tracks every team's strengths relative to an average FBS squad. So they rate the offense, defense, and special teams with the values representing points per game. It takes into account pretty much everything as far as what basically it ranks you based on how your unit would compare to other units in college football based on points per game last year and returning talent. That's the real specific focus on the FPI. And with that in mind, it's very analytical. Again, I can't go to the exact formula. It's the same with like total QBR. I have a lot of trouble with total QBR. That's always been a weakness of mine. But those are the big things they look at. And then they go, and from there, they give you projected wins based on your schedule, based on how many games you have at home, how many games you have on the road, and things like that. So, but the biggest thing is it's a points value system. So based on the points you score per game versus the points you give up per game versus special team scoring, how the units stack up against each other, and how much talent you have in each unit. So it's all about, they don't look at yards or things like that. They look at scoring offense, scoring defense from last year.
Okay, so let's dive into that because Tennessee is rated a little bit higher than I thought they would be. Hit that like and subscribe button. We greatly appreciate that. With Caleb Calhoun, I'm Dave Hooker. Hot or Cold, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com.
Where do you stand? Hot or cold? Brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. Integrity matters. 50 years in East Tennessee. cityheatandair.com. On Off the Hook Sports.
Hey, so Tennessee comes in at number 10 in the FPI. Before you and I had our 3:45 a.m. production meeting, which, by the way, the FPI wasn't out then, so 10th. That I just where would you have put Tennessee before you heard they were number 10 in the nation in terms of winning the national championship?
I would have thought they would have been 15 to 20.
Me too.
But I will say this, because the FPI puts value on points and expected points scored and added. There's a flaw in the system that Tennessee exploits more than other schools, which is that, Dave, you and I both know there's a gigantic gap between Tennessee scoring when they face group of 5 bad programs and SEC programs. The gap for them is bigger than it is for most schools.
I would have thought 15 to 20 as well. Hit that like and subscribe button. We greatly appreciate that. As we've got coming up, Rick Terry's Great 8 Challenge will give away a Garmin watch when we hit 8,000 subscribers. You can be eligible. Caleb, 10's about as high as I could possibly go. I want to break down some of the teams that are behind and above Tennessee in terms of those ratings, but I think it's very favorable. I don't know that Josh Heupel's really hypey about it because it just puts more pressure on him. But is Tennessee heading into this season the 10th best, which is essentially what the FPI is saying? Are they the 10th best team in the nation?
I wouldn't say they're the 10th best team in the nation, but their national title odds are 11th best, believe it or not, while their FPI has them 10th best. And just so people know, we're going to get to them, but the reason is Clemson's national title odds are much higher than the FPI ranking because guess what conference Clemson plays in? So that's part of it. I think this is, again, I can't go 10th best. I saw Tennessee's production in SEC play last year, and it was very middle of the pack. This is based on how they inflate and skew their scoring when they play bad group of 5 teams or Division II schools. Because while Tennessee's middle of the pack in the SEC, some of those schools ahead of Tennessee might beat a Division II school 52-0. Tennessee's going to beat them 69-0. They're going to play Kent State and win 71-0, who is the worst last year's Kent State team was the worst team in the history of college football. So that's how that works. And with that in mind, I think Tennessee, I still say predictive value, they should be in the 15 to 20 range if you adjust for how they skew their stats. Now, caveat, that doesn't mean that the predictive value, it's impossible to give them predictive value this year with a new quarterback and a completely new crop of receivers who I think are going to be significantly better than last year's crop of receivers.
Agreed and agreed. I'm not an analytics guy. I do find this interesting in terms of returning starters and returning players that are going to be a part of the Vols. However, I just have trouble putting them at number 10. Go ahead and get on board. Now, what's our poll question, or do we want to update that in terms of the FPI? It is, again, hot or cold, brought to you by City Heat and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com.
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
All right, definitely do that. All right, appreciate you, Coop. All right, let's break down some teams that are above Tennessee and then below Tennessee. And I will ask you if they're well placed.
That's hot.
Or not. All right. So
and just so people know, we're going by national title odds now based on the FPI because Tennessee's title odds are 11th. And so I'm going to say whether or not I'm hot or cold on them having a realistic chance of winning the national title this year.
Okay. So what's the difference between the odds from Vegas and the FPI? I want to make sure.
FPI takes the predictive value.
No, but in your mind, I mean, I know the difference, but just in your mind, how do you differentiate?
Oh, I don't really differentiate. I have no idea on the differences between the odds. I'm not that much of a mathematician, Dave.
That's hot.
All right, let's go ahead and dive into it. Number one would be Texas. Should they be above Tennessee in the FPI as they are? Where does Texas rank? And I have trouble arguing that Texas shouldn't be above Tennessee in the FPI ranking. Do you?
Yeah, no, I'm high on I'm hot on Texas, and also
That's hot.
I'm hot on Texas having a realistic shot at winning a national title.
Agreed. All right, Georgia. I get this weird feeling that Georgia is going to have this little renaissance run in which they'll play for a couple of national championships and probably win one. I'm not saying like a Saban second run with Kiffin, but I just get this weird feeling that Georgia's not done. You?
I'm hot on Georgia. I'll answer that, but I'll first say I'm hot on Georgia being ahead of Tennessee, and I'm hot on them having a chance, having an obvious, realistic chance to win a national title. My hesitance on them having a renaissance run, Dave, is as long as Mike Dodo is their offensive coordinator, and yes, I called him Mike Dodo instead of Mike Bobo.
Clever.
I'm sorry.
Clever.
Yeah. Bobo the Dodo. I don't see how they're going to win one because Mike Bobo is, you know who Mike Bobo is? The way he coaches is very much like Bill Belichick in Super Bowls, where if you guys don't remember when Bill Belichick had like explosive offenses, he would still he would play so conservatively in the first half that it's why the Patriots always had to have game-winning drives in the Super Bowl before he opened things up. So I am high on Mike Bobo. I mean, I'm high on Georgia, but I'm low on Mike Bobo.
All right.
That's hot.
I'm really high on Georgia. I think they're going to win another national title in the next 5 years, and I think they'll play for 2 more. Now, what about Ohio State? It felt like a rally the troops sort of season for Ohio State that ended in them hammering Tennessee. It just felt like that to me, Caleb. I don't know that you can replicate that year to year to year, but they're spending a ton of money as well.
Yes, and also it's Ohio State. Ohio State is a job on the caliber of LSU. And what do I say by Ohio State being the job on the caliber of LSU? It is the only Power 5 program, until recently with Cincinnati, but they don't count. It's the only true Power 5 program in a state loaded with talent. So you can go to Ohio State, you can party it up as a coach all week and not do any work, and you'll wake up and have a top 5 recruiting class. And the same with LSU. Honestly,
there are times that I think that Caleb oversimplifies things. This is not one of those times. I'm going to agree with him. I do think you can wake up out of bed and I don't say top 10 class. I won't go top 5. But
enough.
you can be hungover and get a top 10 class. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's totally fair. I mean, you'll get a call from a 5-star. I want to come in. It's like, oh, I didn't recruit you, but sure, I'll take you at Ohio State.
All right. Hot or cold brought to you by City Heat and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. Who else is rated above Tennessee? And who else is rated below Tennessee that maybe shouldn't be? With Caleb Calhoun, I'm Dave Hooker, Off Those Sports.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Okay, Caleb. I think the most interesting program on this list, the FBI just rated Tennessee as number 10. I think by far the most interesting team is Alabama. The most interesting program is Alabama. Why do I say that? Because you have Greg Byrne, the athletic director for the University of Alabama, essentially begging for money. And if you hadn't heard that, he comes out and he says, college football is different now. We're not comparing how we used to be, blah, blah, blah. Essentially saying, stroke me a check, right?
Correct.
Okay. I could see them going one of two ways. Like they found their coach, or they haven't, and they go incredibly south. Caleb, I think they're the most intriguing program. If somebody told me you can cover any program as a in-depth reporter, off this list, it's probably Alabama.
They are intriguing, and I'm going to tell you right now, and this is not good news for Tennessee, and this is why I think their title lot should actually even be lower. I think they're really going to hit their stride this year and be very, very elite. And let me break down why. Alabama last year was in a situation that Josh Heupel was in 2 years ago with Joe Milton. And here's what I mean by that. Dave, you and I both know Kalen DeBoer did not want Jalen Milroe as his quarterback. That is not a fit for him. Jalen Milroe was a terrible fit for that offense. Tennessee exposed it when they beat them, and then Oklahoma used that exact same 3-3-5 shell defense where you just bring pressure from the edge, and Jalen Milroe was garbage. But the team loved Jalen Milroe. So what do you do if you're Kalen DeBoer and you're a new head coach taking over a program and you're trying to keep your team together and you bench, Nick Saban could have benched Jalen Milroe. Kalen DeBoer can't. So he said, let me ride it out with Jalen Milroe for a year. He'll leave, and then I'll have my guy. Alabama now has their offensive coordinator in place, Ryan Grubb, who was there when Kalen DeBoer took Washington to the national title game a couple of years ago. He went to the Seahawks for a year, and now he's back at Alabama. They have a collection of their quarterbacks. I think Ty Simpson will be their guy. I think Alabama is going to absolutely take off this year, and they're going to do. I mean, Kalen DeBoer's offense is going to do what he was doing with Washington. So I think, and the fact that they have another elite recruiting class, Tennessee goes to Alabama. I am hot on Alabama. Dave, I might be hotter on Alabama than Georgia or Texas this year.
And I love what Travis had to say. They lost to bleeping Vanderbilt. That is true.
Nick Saban lost to Louisiana Monroe.
Yeah, but that's rebuilding a program. I don't think that's fair.
Well, yeah, but Kalen DeBoer was installing a new system with the quarterback that wasn't a fit for that system. A complete non-fit for the system. I mean, yes, they lost to Vanderbilt. They also beat Georgia.
Okay, scale of 1 to 10. Give me Vanderbilt and Alabama's talent level last year.
Okay, Alabama was a 9 and Vanderbilt was a 4. But
That's hot.
I think that's proved my point.
You have to qualify fit for the systems too. Alabama was a 9, but Kalen DeBoer was trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, and he had no choice but to do that. So that has to count.
Okay, so who else ahead of Tennessee should be ahead of Tennessee? I'm going to throw a couple of names at you. Penn State, Oregon, Clemson, Notre Dame, Miami, Texas A&M. Your thoughts? I have mine.
Penn State, I am cold on.
Agreed.
Oregon, I'm hot on. I think Dan Lanning's doing an incredible job out there. Let's see where.
So
are we?
if Tennessee and Oregon meet, let's just throw something random out there. The Cotton Bowl in the opening round of the college football playoff.
Second round. The Bowls are the second round. It's
Well,
home
whatever.
field.
Whatever. They meet middle of the nation. I don't care. In Milwaukee. It doesn't matter. Tennessee loses to Oregon, given that this is Josh Heupel's fourth year, excuse me,
No, fifth. You're right.
fifth. Man, I don't think that's a good sign.
Yeah, but Oregon's a step ahead of Tennessee right now because they got a
Why?
head start. Well, because they never had a decade of dysfunction and 20, 75 scholarship players all leave at once. So that's why. So, and also they're just in a better situation with the top heavy Big Ten schedule. So, I mean, but Tennessee can still beat them. But I think right now Oregon is in a little bit better shape. I mean, just the Nico thing alone.
I'm not arguing that. My argument is, if you're a Tennessee fan, should you be concerned if in year 5 Tennessee were to lose to an Oregon, which is also, I mean, not rebuilt, but has also been building up a program.
Yeah, no, I don't think you should be worried. I think Oregon is right there with all these other schools we're talking about. They're in that tier with Tennessee. I don't think that's a problem. I mean, nobody's in Georgia, Ohio State, or Alabama's tier talent-wise right now. So I mean, that's it, and maybe Texas, I guess.
I'll tell you what, neutral site, if Tennessee were to lose to Oregon.
I think you're stuck in 2007. I think you're stuck in 2007 and how you view the programs. Okay, it's just a totally different time. Now, you mentioned Clemson. I think the FPI is right. They're right to have Clemson below Tennessee, but they're right to give Clemson better national title odds than Tennessee because of where Clemson plays. So, splitting the baby on that one. Because guess what? Clemson is playing in the ACC, and they'll sleep their way to the playoff with that schedule. Notre Dame, I mean, they just played for the national title. I say they're right to be ahead of Tennessee in overall FPI ranking and talent odds. However, Miami, I think that's no. Miami's got Carson Beck. Mario Cristobal is not going to know what to do with Carson Beck. That's the other one you mentioned. Mario Cristobal is not going to know what to do with Carson Beck at all. And then
I still want to go on record with this. Shedeur Sanders was the best quarterback in this past draft.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you on that.
Well, everybody else disagrees, but okay.
And then lastly, obviously, is ahead of Tennessee. We'll get to some behind them in a second, but Texas A&M ahead of Tennessee. I actually don't mind that one because I think Mike Elko, Texas A&M has a lot of talent, and I am such a believer in Mike Elko.
Yeah, I'm an Elko fan as well. I think that's scary for Tennessee moving forward. This day in Tennessee sports history is brought to you by our good friends.
Wait, can I name a couple teams below them real quick?
Go ahead.
Now, you give me hot or cold if they should be ahead of Tennessee and they're below them. LSU.
No, I would take Tennessee based off its coaching.
Okay.
Because I don't believe in the coaching staff at LSU currently with Brian Kelly.
All right, Ole Miss.
Tennessee should definitely be ahead. If they're not ahead in year 5, Caleb, that's a problem.
Michigan.
I really like from people I talk to what Michigan is doing NIL-wise. And I've said this for a while, and I said it, I think I was one of the first to say on our program that I thought Michigan was the best football team, not last year, but the year before in 2023. But Caleb, I think in terms of talent level, you should be better in the SEC than at Michigan.
I mean, I agree to a certain degree, but I think Michigan has better in-state talent than Tennessee does. As of right now, I do. You can.
That's hot.
Now 2 more, and this might trigger you, but South Carolina. Now Tennessee has better talent than South Carolina, but South Carolina has the best quarterback in the SEC in Lenore Sellers.
They've got a bottom half of the coaches in the SEC.
Yeah, but a quarterback can do a lot for you, Cam Newton, to Gene Chizik. And then lastly, Florida detail-oriented Billy Napier. They look like they might take a step forward this year, Dave.
I think they're taking a major step back.
Okay. All righty.
You?
I think Tennessee is going to lose to Florida in the Swamp this year. I'm sorry, I do.